So Europe's in trouble, and they're starting to see an uprising from the people who actually control everything, and that would be the regular people, the workers and the farmers, and everybody that, you know, is just trying to make ends meet.
I'm just going to mute this tab so you can hear me better. And I watched how it all happened, how they took over, how they were able to take over Europe without firing a shot and without anything else except the central bank and the currency. So back before the euro started, before they started this eurozone, everything in Europe was very very cheap. You could argue that it's still fairly cheap now if you go over there, but it's nothing like it used to be. I mean, it used to be really cheap. You go over there, and everybody had their own local currency and their own local, culture and everything else. And I mean, seriously, they would give you the coffee. It was funny because as Americans, we'll drink like 5 or 6 cups of coffee, and they bring you the coffee one by one, which is kind of funny. But that coffee would cost, like nothing. It was like cents. It wasn't even a dollar. Going out to dinner or something like that would be like $50 or $60 when you did the trans, the currency exchange, and then you didn't tip either. Hotels were all under $100, and then what happened was they started this central bank currency, the euro.
Dude, I haven't seen a hotel under $100, and man, since I was a kid, like a teenager. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but I wouldn't want to stay at those places. I'd rather sleep in my car than sleep in some of the hotels and motels that I used to go to.
And what they did with this, and it's interesting now, again, like if you didn't live through, if you don't see it, it's you don't understand it as much. But that's one of the things that these guys are getting on about, and I don't even know if they understand it all. I should go over there and talk to them. But what they did with the central bank and the euro is they sucked all of the value, or so much of the value, away from all of the
Damn.
countries, and they had it into themselves. And that's what the oligarchs did. Oligarchs of Europe, and they were able to take over Europe, where now you have a European Parliament and a European government that nobody elects, and nobody has any control over, and it just like kind of happened, and nobody, I don't even think they realized it was happening.
Yeah, it sounds like what happened over here with bureaucracy and people who work in the government who just have their jobs forever, and they are actually who control everything.
It was like, okay, we're gonna go on the euro, this is gonna be great.
Well, really, the people like us who control everything, but the people who control the government are like the lobbyists and like the staffers who stay there even after people's terms run out or they get voted out.
It was just a currency at first. Everybody's gonna get on the euro. They promised them some freebies. We're gonna give you free this, we're gonna give you free that.
Yeah, that's how communists get you. They're like, "Oh, we're going to make all these things free, so it's not going to be bad." Like think about all the good things that communism is going to bring. And that's how they get you. It's like don't don't get your research from the salesman.
Sound familiar? Right, we're gonna do free stuff, free stuff. We're gonna do free stuff. Nothing's free, okay? And they put them all on this currency, and then of course they inflate the currency a lot, which makes everything more expensive, and then that's the sneaky tax. And then they tax the heck out of all these poor little European countries.
Not only does it make things expensive, it makes things worth more. So like certain things that used to be cheaper than other things are now way more expensive. For example, when everybody stops buying a bunch of bullshit and all they want is like the milk and the eggs, then the milk and the eggs go up and everything else is not as high priced.
Who the average little European had no idea what was going on. And even me, I had no idea what was going on either. It took years of experience in working in Bitcoin and finance and working for banks and everything else and traveling the world as well and having the knowledge that I have to understand what's going on. And then of course it's great that I can sit here with you and just kind of explain it off the cuff. That's what happened, and that's what's going on here right now. They're protesting for their rights to be able to farm, but at the base level, what they're protesting in Europe is the takeover of Europe by the central bank controlled euro. I mean, it's the takeover of Europe by the oligarchs using the central bank. And it's absolutely, it's amazing to
Is
watch.
this just playing the
Now,
video
this is
over and
happening
over
all
again?
over the world. The central bank has taken over everything. And they have these central banks that are loosely connected or very connected with each other.
Yeah, I believe that is what's going on. The people who control the money are taking over, and they want to control all of the money.
Large convoy of hundreds of angry farmers driving heavy-duty tractors arrived at the European Union headquarters in Belgium today. Now, leaders were meeting in Brussels to discuss financing for Ukraine. Farmers threw eggs and stones at the European Parliament. Also said,
yeah, they want to. The same here. They want to keep sending money to help Ukraine because the people who run everything have their hands in Ukraine's pockets, and they want control over there. That's where a bunch of their business is. That's where they rely on their businesses. Like that's where a lot of resources are. That's where Russia is. Russia sits right next to them. If they ultimately want control of Russia, and Russia doesn't want to give it up. And then they want control of China, and China doesn't want to give it up. That's the whole reason they want that whole area. They want as much of that area as they can so Russia can't take it. So they just want to control everything. Meanwhile, the people who prop up the actual country are getting bled dry, and we know it. They know it in these countries, and we're not gonna do it anymore because we can see what they're doing. We all have the internet. We all have phones. There are cameras everywhere, and these people think they're smart with their surveillance, but we have hackers on our side. We're smarter. Just wait and see what happens when we got all this surveillance technology everywhere. Who's really going to take that over?
fires in the area to press EU leaders to do more to help them with taxes and rising costs. Now, while the farmers' crisis is not officially on the agenda of the EU summit, it is expected to be discussed. Similar protests have been held across the EU for most of the week.
How are we going to make these farmers quit protesting? What are we going to make illegal?
Farmers blocked traffic arteries across Belgium, France, and Italy this week.
As you have seen, there is a major farmers' protest in Brussels. We need to be able to discuss in the council on this topic because the concerns that they have are partly legitimate. The climate transition is a key.
Partly legitimate? Is that what he said?
Are partly legitimate.
No, they're 100% legitimate.
The climate transition is a key priority for our societies.
No, it's not. These people don't care about the climate. You don't care about the climate. You want control. So stop playing games.
We need to make sure that our farmers can be a partner in this. They have done incredible efforts over the past years. Over the past years, they have really adapted to the new standards that we have. We have a long way to go, and we need to make sure that they can be a partner in this and that they can be part of the discussion.
No. I think we're done looking for partnerships. We know what partnership means. It means you're going to put down more regulations so we have less of a chance to actually talk about what we want and protest. No thanks. We know where this is going. We know where it's led, where it leads, and where it's been. I think we're about to have a worldwide civil war pretty soon.
Against so many rules from Europe. It's too many for doing a normal farming.
True.
We have a lot of hope if you see with how many people we are here today, and if you see it's all over Europe, so we must have hope. We must have hope that these people see that farming is necessary. It's the food, you know. We must have these guys to let them see them. You need us, help us, because...
Yeah, and what's going to happen if we let the people in power control our food? They're not going to hold themselves accountable. They're going to put chemicals in there. They're going to put filler in there because it's cheaper and easier. And they don't really care about the population. They care about money. A lot of people. Meanwhile, they're still spraying shit everywhere. It's all over government property. This is the kind of things that I like to see, man. Get all those tires, those burning tires. Take that, climate change. Painting your walls with shit. No. Looks like they're digging up the roads in a lot of these places. Yeah, look at all of them. Is this a different place? What is this, Italy? It's just like Europe's falling apart right now. The entire West, the whole West is falling apart. Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either the West is going to fall and the East is going to rise, and we're going to have they're going to be in their golden age, while we have rebels forming in our capitals. And they might even declare war and annex us, just like they would in Civ 5. I mean, I would in this kind of situation. That's the play I would make. While these other countries are falling apart, I would slowly take over. And that's what's going on. And what there's nothing that can be done. These people can't unite with the government because the government just does everything bad. So either that's going to happen, or is it just going to be straight up the end of the world? And goodbye to everything.